Aaron Dillon here, Managing Director of AG Dillon & Co. Here is the pre-IPO stock update for January 16, 2026. Cerebras Systems is an AI chip and systems company that builds purpose-built hardware for training and inference and sells both systems and remote compute services. Those are AI chips. The company's AI chips emphasizes low latency by combining large compute, memory, and bandwidth on one chip to reduce bottlenecks. It's a big chip, physically. It is in talks to raise $1 billion at a $23 billion post-money valuation as it prepares to go public later this year. The valuation would be a step up from the $8.1 billion in September of 2025, where it raised $1.1 billion. Revenue concentration has been a key overhang, with most revenue tied to one customer, Group 42 Holdings, which hired Cerebras to build 3 supercomputers. Cerebras and OpenAI signed a multi-year agreement where OpenAI buys up to 750 megawatts of capacity from Cerebras, with deployment launched in multiple tranches throughout 2028. This is a $10 billion deal, so a huge win for Cerebras. The companies have said recent work supporting OpenAI's GPT OSS 120 billion model ran 15 times faster than conventional hardware, positioning Cerebras as a supplier aimed at making real-time responses more practical at scale. Skild AI builds foundation models and general-purpose software designed to act like a reusable robotic brain, so robots can adapt across tasks without being retrained from scratch each time. The company raised $1.4 billion in a Series C that values it at more than $14 billion and more than 3x its roughly $4.5 billion valuation about 7 months earlier. The round was led by SoftBank with participation from NVIDIA, Macquarie, 1789 Capital, and Bezos Expeditions, plus repeat support from major venture backers. Skild said its software can run on standard GPUs, and it trains on large libraries of human videos and simulations using real-world actions and mistakes as a feedback loop. The company said it went from zero to tens of millions of dollars in revenue over a few months in 2025 and is working with more than 8 clients. Temporal builds developer tooling that helps companies orchestrate and run cloud applications by coordinating many services, which can be useful for complex AI agent workflows that need durable execution and reliable handoffs. Temporal is in advanced talks to raise $5 billion at a $5 billion valuation, about 2x its value from a secondary financing just 3 months earlier at $2.5 billion. It raised $146 million last year at a $1.72 billion valuation, and it surpassed $100 million in annual recurring revenue last year. Andreessen Horowitz is in discussions to lead the round. Parloa is a customer service AI company building agent-style systems that answer calls and handle enterprise support workflows with a focus on moving beyond simple call pickup towards a more contextual interactions across channels. The Berlin-based startup raised $350 million in a Series D funding at a $3 billion valuation just 8 months after raising $120 million at a $1 billion valuation. Parloa disclosed more than $50 million in ARR and is competing in a market that Gartner estimates includes 17 million contact center agents globally. Rivals include Sierra, which raised $350 million at a $10 billion post-money valuation, and PolyAI, which raised $86 million at a $750 million valuation last month, and is rumored to have exited 2025 at $40 million in ARR. Parloa said it will invest in new capital into a multi-model contextual experience so agents can recognize a customer's identity and needs across app, web, and phone. Higgsfield is an AI video generation and editing platform that targets creators and social media teams, and it is positioning itself as a workflow tool for professional marketers rather than casual content creation alone. The company sold an additional $80 million of stock in an extension to its prior $50 million Series A, bringing the Series A total to $130 million and pushing valuation to $1.3 billion. 5 months after launch, it reported 11 million users, and at 9 months, it reported more than 15 million users. Higgsfield says it's on a $200 million annual revenue run rate, up from $100 million trajectory in about 2 months. Founder Alex Masharov, previously generative AI previously led generative AI at Snap, and after Snap acquired his prior startup AI Factory in 2020 for $166 million. Torq sells an autonomous cybersecurity operations platform built around AI agents that can triage large volumes of security alerts and automate repetitive remediation steps so security teams can focus on higher risk investigations. The Tel Aviv-based company closed a $140 million round that values it at $1.2 billion. Torq has more than 300 employees across Israel and the US, and it said it began building agent-based functionality after generative AI surged, introducing an AI agent for security operations in summer of 2023. The founders previously built Luminate Security in 2017 and sold it to Somatic for $250 million in less than 2 years. Etched is an AI chip startup building in a processor called Sohu to compete in AI accelerators, and it is working with TSMC's Emerging Businesses Group on manufacturing while hiring semiconductor veterans from firms like Cypress and Broadcom. The company raised about $500 million in a round that valued it at $5 billion, led by Stripes with participation from Peter Thiel, Positive Sum, and Rivet Capital. Etched now has raised almost $1 billion in total funding, underscoring continued investor appetite in specialized silicon as demand for AI compute rises. Harmattan AI is a defense technology company that builds autonomous and mission system software for aircraft and drones and is positioning its product as an embedded AI that is both sovereign and scalable for defense customers. Founded in 2024, is now valued at $1.4 billion after raising a $200 million Series B led by Dassault Aviation, the Rafale fighter jet maker. The company said the new round comes on top of $42 million it raised to date and plans to scale manufacturing for platforms spanning drone interception, electronic warfare, and ISR. Harmattan disclosed it won a multi-million US dollar contract, in July from NATO government about 1 year after founding, and it will exhibit at the World Defense Show in Riyadh next month as it expands its US team. XAI subsidiary is moving towards a more transparent and more AI-driven recommendation stack, with Elon Musk saying that the platform will open source its algorithm in 7 days, including the code that selects recommended posts and ads. Musk said updates will repeat every 4 weeks with developer notes after earlier stating a goal of publishing changes about every 2 weeks. X has been integrated with XAI's Grok AI large language model into the feed ranking process, and Musk wrote that the company aimed to have more than 100 million daily posts evaluated by Grok to surface what users are most likely want to see. Anthropic, the AI large language model business, is pushing Claude deeper into healthcare by shipping a HIPAA compliant offering that supports protected health data and adds scientific data integrations for clinical and biological research. The company said Banner Health has more than 22,000 clinical providers using Claude, and 85% report working faster, with higher accuracy, highlighting earlier usage at scale inside a large nonprofit system. Anthropic is also enabling customers to export health data from Apple Health and Function Health to help consolidate records for provider conversations. It said medical outputs are grounded in citations from sources such as PubMed and the MPI registry, and it said it will not train models on healthcare user data. Anthropic is currently raising a primary round at a $350 billion valuation. Cowork is Anthropic's attempt to make agent-style workflows more accessible by letting users point Claude Desktop at a specific folder that Claude can read or modify through chat, creating a sandboxed file boundary without command line setup. The tool is in research preview and is available to Max subscribers with a waitlist for other plans. Cowork is built on the Claude Agent SDK, and Anthropic warns about the risks like prompt injection or unintended deletions if instructions are vague. It builds on momentum from Claude Code, which launched as a command line tool in November of 2024 and followed by web interface in October and a Slack integration 2 months later. Merge Labs is a brain-computer interface startup positioning itself as a research lab aimed at connecting biological and artificial intelligence with high bandwidth links. with an initial focus on medical products rather than consumer augmentation. It raised $252 million in a seed round led by Bain Capital with OpenAI as the largest investor. Merge did not disclose valuation, though separate reporting cited $850 million valuation for an approximately $250 million seed round. The company says it is pursuing a non-invasive approach that relies on molecules and modalities like ultrasound rather than implanted electrodes, and it has fewer than 50 employees with plans to hire more. Torq is an AI healthcare app building a unified medical memory that pulls together patient data across health systems and wellness apps, addressing a core friction point in consumer health where records are siloed across vendors and formats. OpenAI agreed to acquire Torq for about $100 million in equity, including about $60 million upfront and the remainder as retention equity. Torq has 4 employees, and all 4 plan to join OpenAI, including CEO Ilya Abazov, who previously co-founded Forward, which shut down in late 2024. The acquisition follows OpenAI's launch of ChatGPT Health and positions OpenAI to deepen its ability to reconcile conflicting data sources such as fitness trackers versus clinical records. 1X develops humanoid robots and is aiming to push Neo, its latest humanoid robot model, towards generalization in the home by pairing a human-like factor with a world model that can translate prompts and video into new behaviors. The company unveiled 1X World Model. It's a physics-based model that uses internet-scale video plus prompts so Neo can attempt tasks it has not been explicitly trained on. Pre-orders opened in October with plans to ship in 2026, and the company said pre-orders exceeded expectations without giving a number. The company clarified that the current learned skills remain basic, such as removing air fryer basket and putting toast in a toaster and giving a high five, but it frames this as first steps towards more complex actions. 1X has a $10 billion valuation after its latest primary round. ElevenLabs sells AI voice generation and voice agents products that can be grounded in a company's own knowledge base, making it useful for customer support and customer experiences automation at scale. The company crossed $330 million in ARR, and the CEO said the ramp accelerated sharply, taking 20 months to reach $100 million and 10 months to reach $200 million and 5 months to reach $330 million. The enterprises have deployed its voice agent technology to handle more than 50,000 calls per month, the company said. ElevenLabs raised $180 million in a Series C at a $3.3 billion valuation in January 2025, then raised another $100 million to buy employee shares at a valuation that doubled. ElevenLabs has an $8.7 billion secondary market valuation. That's up 31.3% versus its September 2025 primary round. Erebor is a branchless digital bank that is positioning itself as regulated infrastructure for crypto and frontier tech clients, leaning into compliance rather than trying to route around oversight. The bank raised $350 million at a $4.35 billion valuation and is progressing through a staged regulatory process. After preliminary conditional approvals, the OCC granted preliminary conditional approval on October 15, and the FDIC approved deposit insurance in December, subject to conditions including at least $276 million in initial paid-in capital and a Tier 1 leverage ratio of at least 12% for the first 3 years. Erebor plans to keep lending conservative, implying a low loan-to-deposit ratio, and it expects revenues to skew towards fees such as crypto transactions. The U.S. has 4,379 FDIC-insured banks as of last year's third quarter. That's down 50% since 2025, which frames the bank's launch as a bet on a specialized niche rather than broad-based lending scale. Replit is a vibe coding platform that uses AI agents to let novices and developers write, debug, deploy, and now publish software with minimal manual coding, and it is pushing into mobile app creation as a concrete distribution channel. It introduced mobile apps on Replit, which lets users generate iOS apps from natural language prompts, preview and test them, and publish to app stores with Stripe integration for monetization. Replit is in advanced talks to raise about $400 million at a roughly $9 billion valuation, including the new money after raising $250 million at a $3 billion valuation in September. Okay, that's it for me this week. Thanks, and see you guys next week.